All right, Jay, Hal, you know Tempo Storm the best. As we get ready for game number 2, what battleground do you want to see from them?
At this point, I'm not 100% sure. They've tried so much during the opening stage that it really makes it hard to analyze this team now. Everything that we saw during league play for 9+ months, going into playoffs almost 10 months, it seemed like everything was figured out. They excel at second pick. They love Dragonshire. They go to this map. It's their favorite battleground. They do so many things well, countering drafts, playing into that second pick role. They said we're comfortable going to wherever other teams want, and they play that. So after the group stage, it seems like a lot of that has just kind of been wiped off the board, and they're like, let's start over. And it's really hard to break down where the strengths lie because it's been everything. And that game in particular, the Heroics, it just felt like they tried to do one thing while also doing the other, and it almost feels like you just need to go down that one path. And I agree with Kaldor in the way that that we anticipated them playing it because we've seen success from that with other teams. We didn't see that. So there's no way to say, hey, we know what they were trying to do until we can actually talk to them and figure that out.
Kaldor, last thought before we go to the battleground?
It just feels they need to stop playing this disrespectful. You can't play into Dignitas like this. It might work against a lesser team, not against Dig. Like again, I repeat myself, group stage, you try the double support, it worked in the region, it's a little bit iffy, and then you measure it up against the international teams. And then at some point you decide, okay, it might work in that context on this map, but you have to adapt a little bit. And the strategy that I still like the most is when they played Macro and Cursed Hollow. That was a good attempt. It's an attempt that is execution heavy because it can never be forced into a fight, and it's tough against a strong opponent like Gen G or Dignitas. But there's at least a concept behind it that I can look at and I can say, okay, this makes sense. You executed it well. If you do that a little bit better, I can see you win the map. But I look at the last composition and it's just, as we said, all over the place. And there is no real idea behind it that you can see and that is executed in the gameplay.
Well, let's see if Tempo Storm is going to go back to their roots here as battleground number 2 is ready to be pulled out. Where are we going? It looks like we will be heading to Towers of Doom. Tempo Storm will be having first pick. Dignitas will be having the battleground choice.
Yeah, Dignitas going to be happy with this map pick right here. This once again allows them to play that aggressive style, but also allows them to play the macro, which for the most part they weren't really too punished on. So they're going to have some pocket picks of their own that they can try and run. They've used the Abathur solo support before, trying to dive into the idea of, hey, Tempo Storm, if you get crazy, we can do crazy things as well. So I'm expecting once again to sort of see the idea of a Medivh ban, very standard bans between these two teams, potentially the Abathur ban, but, you know, I can't see a world in which Tempo Storm right now, when they know that they could potentially get eliminated from BlizzCon, go, all right, we're going to play traditional, I say in quote marks, standard. Like, I feel like we're going to still see a lot of experimentation, but maybe tone down at least one dial.
I would expect a more normal game from them. It's a map that they played a lot in League play as well. Dignitas didn't play it as much. The thing is, you want to put off something crazy, for example, that Murky with an Abathur. If your 4-man still loses to your opponent's 4-man, then all they have to do is send one hero to babysit the Murky, and that's it. And I feel like that was a bit of a problem that they had. You need to at least, if you want to go for these strategies, have a strong 4-man or 3-man that can trade into your opponent. That wasn't the case, but I expect a much more normal game from here then. That might for them mean, again, double support, but less experimental than what we've just seen.
Well, going against Dignitas, it was something I mentioned in the previous series as we get a Tyrande ban. Some excited fans about the normal pick there. But when you go against Dignitas, EU, they prioritize and utilize their solo laner. It's different than the way Korea does it, but you could argue that EU does it better, and they have Wubby, the single best undisputed solo laner in the game. And so for them, the way that they play around that, we already see the prioritization by banning Dahaka, which means that Wubby, their drafter, has an idea of what this team is going to do, and you can never question that. And there's a Zeratul pick, and we saw Snitch on that Zeratul previously, so strong. They also ran it with the Abathur comp themselves. It might just be baiting out a ban in the second ban.
The beauty of the Zeratul pick, too, is it's also interchangeable. You can put it in the top lane, you can also put it on Snitch there, depending on what this team needs exactly for it after they see what Tempo Storm pulls out.
And I mean, you look at this, and the first thought you have is immediately Jaina. You need to take care of her now. You can run into a Void Prison Apocalypse combo, so you need to either ban her out or pick her for yourself. So Tempo Storm should definitely ban her here, or there is a huge wombo potential for Dignitas. But you know, we talked a bit about Wubby, and Wubby is still following a pattern that we've seen in Europe from him. Whenever he gets a chance to pick his Urel, he jumps on Urel, and that we saw that in the last game. The impact that he has with that hero is crazy, and teams have not really shown a lot of respect to that here.
Well, the other thing is that even if Snitch does go down a different route, Wubby is a very good Zeratul player. So they have multiple things that they can do as the priority on that solo laner continues, targeting Glaurung. So no Dahaka, no Malthael, two heroes that we've known Dahaka to play quite a bit. it. The Abathur band comes out. Now let's see if we get that Jaina to pair with the Zeratul and Diablo, which we saw just a week ago.
And that's such a scary composition. If you see that right there, you're absolutely terrified. And I mean, the Zeratul does also fulfill the role that you would have with that Genji. You got that roam, you got the ability to always scatter information, which is what you're looking to try and achieve with this Medivh. There's a possible world here where Tempo Storm don't run a traditional support as such and go to Tyrande and Tassadar. I don't want to say it's going to happen, but there's a part of me that goes, look, you need some kind of response to the Zeratul, otherwise he's just going to run rings around you.
Right, so we don't have the Jaina right away. That Jaina setup, by the way, is also what Dignitas ran on this particular map.
Yep.
Back then it was an Abathur solo support, so the Abathur ban on the side of Tempo Storm at least eliminates that. The problem is if you have the Zeratul on the other side, then Abathur, of course, emphasizes the danger that he brings to any lane even more so. And if you then have a strong top laner, you can easily turn that into a 1 versus 3 if he rotates over. But there's still the opportunity for the burst damage in the adjustment towards the end.
Wow.
Oh my.
Well, there's some lost Vikings. Again, we know that they're very strong on Towers of Doom, or they used to be. See if we get the Viking Hunter, because Jaina does pair well with Malfurion because of the Innervate. It doesn't even matter who this last pick is, because the way that Zeratul roams around, the best way to deal with Vikings is to have a Viking Hunter. Zeratul is one of the absolute best Viking Hunters you have.
He's so good because as a Viking player, you stare at the minimap the entire time, and if he's able to get that jump on you, he's going to pick you off, and you're not getting those region globes, and of course that's soak. Now with that being said, I like this draft from Tempo Storm. First off, we know that Vikings are great on Towers of Doom, but you have kill potential available for you. You have a strong 4-man. This is doable by them, but then again, it's Dignitas.
Also, that Vikings into the Zeratul kind of reminds me a little bit of BlizzCon last year.
Roll 20.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that didn't work well back then. But I agree with you that that draft is at least a lot better. You have a strong 4-man that can really get the kills. You can lead with an Arthas. The carrying a combo with Arthas existed for ages, 2015 already. Got nerfed since then with how much synergy they have, but it's still a great setup. So you can definitely get your kills here with the Tyrande on top of that too. The Vikings are fantastic to also get the altars, put the pressure onto the lanes. So from that aspect, I like it a lot more. But then again, you look towards Dignitas and there's a good combo potential, and you also have that Zeratul that can hunt down the Vikings.
And I mean, my only final concern there, Caldor, though, is you got the Sergeant Hammer coming in as that final 5th pick, and that is that surprise factor, right? You're thinking, look, how do I actually get threatened here if I'm Sergeant Hammer? You know, you're trying to bait out this ability coming out from Arthas or from Kerrigan. There's no real gap closer. Usually we send the Medivh to try and get these immobile tanks into that range. So you're looking at a situation right now where you're thinking, okay, Sergeant Hammer can sit back fine, she can poke from afar, she can do what she needs to do, and Zeratul can go around the map. So look, we're now winning that 4-man, and now we're also taking out your XP that you're trying to soak. And once again, it just feels like Tempo Storm are like, we've been drafted into a bit of a narrow corridor. I
mean, you don't even have to send the Blaze top lane. You can literally just like double soak with the Zeratul. You can have the Blaze together with the Hammer, and then how do you react into that 4-man? You get the bunker out whenever the engage comes. You have Hammer also with a space creation there, so just pushing your opponent back. So you can play it around that, and Zeratul gets the double soak plus the Vikings.
It feels like the Kerrigan has to be on point here. She is going to be stressed out because of that Sergeant Hammer. Let's go ahead and go into game number 2 and see if Tempo Storm can send us to a game number 3.
Tempo Storm will be the last hope here for North America. Skimmy, quite a unique draft in game number 1. More to the standard, but with the X factor, not the XYZ factor that we saw in the last game.
Yeah, that was a pretty crazy alphabet game, I'll tell you that much. We saw some wild picks and some wild drafts, but also some wild strategies. Not too sure what we're going to see coming out of this one, if it's going to be enough shabam when you have your life on the line here in a North American crowd here at BlizzCon. Fan looking to I suppose, jump into that experience from 2015 and say, now is that time for it to empower me.
Just picking up a win against the likes of Dignitas would be so big for them. We'll see as they get ready in just a moment.
On left-hand side from Europe, it's JPL on Diablo. Whoopi on Blaze, Poik here on Sergeant Hammer, Snitch on Zeratul, and finally Zalia on Malfurion. This is your team here, it's Dignitas.
All hands on deck here for Tempo Storm as it's going to be June on Tyrande. Vin will be on Raynor, giving him the pepper. Caterpillar on the front line. The Arthas has been very known lately. Fan will be on the Kerrigan, and Glaurung will be on the Lost Vikings. Give it up for Tempo Storm.
Really curious to see how Tempo Storm play this early game. It'd be a big tell of their confidence, their stress levels right now.
Well, the strategy for Dignitas in the draft really played out. They took away a lot of the diving, and as you mentioned, Skimmy, it's like, how do you get onto that back line? Poik with a nice knockback, the Kerrigan combo, the leap back in. There's going to be the stun, the roots, the heals, not enough. That's first blood for Tempo Storm.
Beautiful pickup there from Tempo Storm. This is what we need to see from them. It looks so good from Poik there with the concussive blast to get out of harm's way, but the fan jump comes across, he ravages him. And that's what we want to see, bouncing between these lanes, really looking to exude some kind of, hey, we're here to play, we're not afraid of you.
For Dignitas, that 1 minute mark has passed. With the Vikings, you're able to hold one member in that top lane, so it's no longer that priority of getting that solo laner down. You can already see Wubby making his way down to that mid lane. He wants to be in quick rotation in case of Tempo Storm coming in for that flank. And Cattle, they're very familiar with that style themselves. Cattle will thwart off the Blaze, but they will concede the Sapper camp for now, as Dignitas and Tempo Storm both pick those up early.
So what we're seeing so far is a 3-lane split with these Vikings. This allows Tempo Storm to respond with this 4-man by just going to any lane and never feeling threatened. This does obviously require Glaurung to be very disciplined with his ability to micromanage all of these. But you're going to see it's this 4-man rotation they come across. If CC lands, things will go across. But if it doesn't land, there is pressure on the other side as Dignitas can turn this fight around and they can look to get some kills of their own.
Well, Cattle is in deep. He's trying to survive, but that's going to be first kill here for Dignitas as they even up the scoreboard. Take a small lead momentarily.
Bit of execution really in the court here for Tempo Storm. Very predictable what their composition is looking to try and do. It's either opening up there with a Howling Blast or you want to go in with that Kerrigan combination. If that lands, then somebody will die. Can't get in range. They cannot land it. The threat, the punishment potential that Dignitas can come across with as a result is very strong. And so far, the pressure that we're looking to see from the Zeratul.
Zeratul just passed by there. Fan. He knows he can't use that combo because there is a blink available. For Tempo Storm, they have multiple forms of CC, or at least range CC when it comes to the root from Arthas, but also the stun from Tyrande. If you can force out one of those self-unstoppables by Sergeant Hammer, then you can look to follow up and dive and maybe get that. It just requires a lot of luck, a very good positioning, and some execution. Nature's Cure is a post CC ability. Snitch starting to path through. Cattle not able to get the root there.
I do have one Viking in the bottom lane. It is going to be Eric looking to try and be nimble and aggressive, but he does get taken out, so no defense when it comes to that one. Looks to be so far. But Dignitas will pick up one here. As long as Tempo Storm can pick up two, they still are in a very healthy spot. Cattle dropping low. Does have the heals and does have to disengage as Tempo Storm still chasing on through.
Well, Sergeant Hammer still showing at the bottom. Tempo Storm, they're actually going to concede this top left, not willing to take that fight. They don't want to give up too much in the macro game because the Vikings, as good as they are at soaking, they're not good at defending when people are sieging up on structures. You can see that bottom wall already down due to the work of Poik on that Sergeant Hammer. So Tempo Storm, they're willing to slow things down, wait for the long game, find moments, find opportunities as we see another route come in there from Cattle. But the lead starting to mount for Dignitas here in the early game.
Dignitas hitting level 7 right now. 12 stacks here on the level 1 talent for Blaze. We have New Habits looking to give him that unstoppable, which would be so damn important, especially for being able to utilize that jet propulsion to give yourself some peeling potential to really try and protect Poik here on that Sergeant Hammer, but also ensuring that that bunker, when it does come down, when it is needed, is available.
Just everything that Wubby does, playing around the vision, playing around there, it's hard to get on to a target like that. We're going to see Snitch continue to harass, disrupt the rotations, because for Dignitas, it's a matter of, that's nice. We still have this double lane soak from our Blaze, and now we're going to clear that bot lane, and we're going to push forward. They have these sappers here continuing to make plays, and it's very easy to make this when you have that double lane soak potential. They move forward, and that fort takes damage.
And what's interesting is we haven't seen Snitch here go for a big focus on trying to take down these Vikings. It's all about looking to get vision, looking to try and snipe out where Tempo Storm are going for, predicting the next move, being proactive as opposed to being reactive and saying, yes, you do have the Vikings, but we're prepared to let you get a grace in another lane as long as we can beat you in your 4-man.
Well, this gank squad for Tempo Storm, it's threatening, but the mobility from Snitch, he's made all the right plays, keeping them dancing, keeping them guessing. Will continue to dodge another, just staying mounted. Tempo Storm, they're struggling to find that. Snitch comes in. Now that he has Wormhole, he's like, good luck, boys. Your CC is not fast enough as he'll come in, get the Wormhole in, get the cleave, and drop right back out.
Two ults available this time. Poik is still in the bottom lane with the hover mode, looking to try and keep some pressure. And as you mentioned, really pressure. One of the weaknesses of the Vikings here, which is those turrets are gone. Can we get a bell tower? Can we get some extra shots when it comes to this next ulti phase? But both have gone, and is still tied at 4 for 4, although Dignitas are in a slight lead.
Wubby's trying to track down Glaurung. Will get the slow, just allowing Snitch to get in here. They're trying to get the kill, but the tower still remains, as do the minions. Not willing to commit those resources there. But now, after you've got those rotations out, now you're looking to threaten those Vikings one by one. As the game goes on, those death timers get longer, and so look for Snitch to start looking for those picks onto each one of those in rotations if they can make it happen. Another blink out. Snitch wormholes back in, trying to make the play. They're getting the track down. Fan taking damage. Pyromania used, and Wubby forced to retreat.
He forced to retreat right there. That would have been a very good fight for Tempo Storm. If they could have got that kill just before level 10, denying Dignitas that lead that they have acquired. But these XP differences are bang on with only one killer piece, and Poik staying pretty in this bottom lane. He is not allowing any grace, saying, sure, you can have some push in the top lane, but at least two of these lanes have to be pressured by us.
Poik getting the heck out of dodge there. There was the stun, and he used those thrusters to get out of there, and rightfully so. But the damage starting to mount in that bottom lane. Once they get that, it is easier for Tempo Storm because they can keep the Vikings in the other lanes, use the big 4-man to try and get down there. You have Raynor there, but it does give you that potential to regain structures, but you don't want to lose them in the first place. It's inevitable at this point. Wubby almost getting caught out. Jet propulsion, Fan making the plays, getting the jump. Bunker used, they're trying to get the track down. There's going to be the jump again, but the slow is enough, and Fan not able to make up ground, and that is what makes Wubby so great. Calm under pressure.
So calm right there. The jet propulsion to dodge out the Howling Blast, and instantly the response there with the bunker. Cool as you can be. Not a care in the world. And if we take a quick look at some of the ultimates that have been chosen here at level 10, we do have the Napalm Strikes. Not going to go for the BFG, the instant blow-up potential for that counter engage. They want extra sustain, as well as that Tranquility. Twilight Dream, I'm not really phased about that one. They want to make sure that they have armor, health, and the ability to turn things around.
Well, this is what you want to see. If you can take control of this top lane for Tempo Storm, the Vikings can hold these lanes much easier, and you can get damage done in the other lanes. Tempo Storm with a strategy, it's going to be difficult to pull off against the likes of Dignitas, but they do get that top fort down. We'll give them some control. Now the gank squad starting to rotate down. Dignitas got some early damage in that mid lane as that climb, but they also gain control of the bottom bell tower in the bottom right.
As you say, it is a trade there, 1 for 1. Dignitas still in the lead with shot count by 8. And Poik still showing no signs of release. He's been in his bot lane for the entire time, really keeping Glaurung in check, saying you have to micromanage these Vikings as well as you can. And well, we're going to find some aggression here, but not going to be concerned by the combo, as it is just Fan on his own.
Wubby juking left and right. Snitch lurking around, trying to look for a play of his own. Tempo Storm has started to take a minor lead in terms of XP. It's just a matter of the long play for them as he'll come forward, get the auto attack proc there. Snitch continuing to harass this team. And remember, Zeratul gets higher and higher at 16. He gets that burst damage. That backline is not exactly the strongest. They are very susceptible to some counter dive for Snitch to make those big plays.
Two more ultis spawning here in 25 seconds as both teams are still stuck in a stalemate of 4 or trading out. Tempo Storm looking to get aggressive here in the bottom lane. Trying to do a bit of a wraparound. They've caught out Poik. He might be in a situation. Frusters had to be burnt on very quickly, but he retreats to the bell tower. The Howling Blast does not connect, but Snitch may have found some aggression himself.
Well, he's trying to get on there. There's going to be the dive over the VP. It's isolated. Fan, he's not able to survive. Another play made there. There's going to be the APOC follow-up. Icebound Fortitude will buy Cattle some time, but they get the counter kill onto Snitch on that Zeratul. Perfect execution on that first play. But Dignitas still getting this first channel, and with that bottom one, then that bottom concave, it's going to make it hard for Tempo Storm to contest that.
A 1-for-1 trade, but still two very impactful ultimates across the board from both of these teams. The bunker, the Tranquility. Defense is the name of the game here for Dignitas to try and respond to what is going to come across here from the side of Tempo Storm. But despite this, Tempo Storm have found themselves in a situation where they do have the XP lead, but their core is down at least double on
Vikings
shots.
top have the bribe, and that's going to help them control that bottom or that top lane. That buys a significant amount of time. Wubby can defend that, but it almost handcuffs him there unless Dignitas is willing to give some of that up. So now, Tempo Storm, they'll look to get the invade. They know that they have that top lane occupied, and now they're going to look to reclaim this bottom lane or get some control for now. So Tempo Storm, they do find themselves down 32-16, but their long-term strategy, is it too long-term for them to come back in this game?
And it's interesting because, you know, reading Snitch's interview when he was discussing with Genji's Rich about Tempo Storm, he was saying they were quite upset about the fact that Tempo Storm recently have been known for just trying to avoid team fights. They just want to macro, they just want to try and keep lane pressure. They want to try and do anything but team fights, despite having a composition which looks on paper designed to get kills. No, they are more focused on macro, more focused on the ability to try and micro manage this map.
Well, they'll take another bell tower, but they have to get down to this bottom lane to defend. Dignitas will push forward with these sappers. And the reclamation of that top lane by Wubby, continuing to thwart Tempo Storm, who will give up the sappers in exchange for those 4 shots from the... Actually, they're not even going to boss here.
No bots, they want level 16. They spot Wubby in the mid lane. Are we going to see a dive here from Fanody? Going to switch on towards Snitch, but then the bait right there on towards Snitch.
Oh my!
Leaving a block there with Zeratul falling on down. The bunker comes across, but Wubby a little bit too late. And that was a beautiful little bit of finesse where they jump in, go one way, flick it to the other way, and Snitch caught off guard.
Fan made that play on Infernal Shrines during the playoffs. A similar play, you dive one way, you go the other. The unstoppable used by Poik. Wubby comes in. Remember, bunker was used in that last fight. Catalan team looking for a fight. They get the lockdown onto Wubby. Pyromania used. Wubby starting to trek out. JPL zoning for now. Glaurung gets interrupted by Azalea with that Moonfire. Glaurung trying to make plays on the backside, Skimmy.
DP and APOC are still available for Dignitas, whereas on the other hand, you're looking at some ultimates that aren't available. That's what Tempo Storm need. They have basic abilities, basic combinations, and you can see that they understand that this is not a winning trade. Despite having that massive lead with level 16, they actually have to sacrifice more shots onto an already very weakened core.
They can't continue to do that. I mean, they're going to have to start taking some of these fights. They got the initial pick, which was a fantastic play, but they have to do more. The top bell tower under assault. That will fall momentarily, but Dignitas has retaken that middle one there on the left side. You can see that Dignitas trying to keep up with the rotations, but Skimmy, they are down to 9 shots left on their core.
Scary times right now if you're a Tempo Storm fan, and I'm sure nobody else but them themselves feel that pressure. They understand that on a stage like this, they need some cheers. It's been a very quiet game with only 5 kills across the board, but Cattle's going to find some aggression. He sidesteps the jet propulsion here from Wubby's Blaze, but there is no objective for these teams to contest over. This is literally aggression on the rotation.
Tempo Storm will keep their attention towards the middle again. They actually sniffed out that the camp was being picked up. Poik and JPL zoning off here will continue to shell away, but Tempo Storm, they're looking for the 6 cap, the ultimate control if they can. JPL goes in, they get the flip back. JPL won't be in defense, but Wubby goes in. Starfall down in response, but that's going to be 1 Viking down, but then they turn their attention to Fan. That's going to be 1, then we'll make it 2 as Arthas falls right after.
Everything burnt right there by Tempo Storm to try and stay alive, but it's just not going to be enough, and you're going to see the amount of dominance that Dignitas had in that team fight. Despite being down a small lead in NXP, they can still hang on to the Void Prism. They can still hang on to the Tranquility. They had so much commanding pressure.
This might be it, Skimmy. I mean, this is 6 sappers pushing bottom. You don't have much in the way of defense. Snitch goes in, trying to make the plays. JPL going in, the sappers as they make their way through. There's 1, there's 2. They're down to 7 shots. The boss is available. That's 6 now, 3 pushing through. This will be 4 shots, and Dignitas has so much available to try and end this game. Tempo Storm, they're letting that through, and now it all comes down to this altar.
This altar or this boss is one or the other. JPL jumps in right there to get clap on towards Olaf. Olaf and Eric full on down. 1 Viking to rule them all. Can that be what they need? Can that be what they have as a Void Prism is used in the backline? Balog falling as well. And the play again has to come across as this channel is going through.
Dignitas has done it. They have taken down Tempo Storm and made their way with a date with Destiny in the round of 4. Tempo Storm will fall out of the tournament behind a lost Vikings comp that did not hold the longevity game there, and Dignitas just showing why they are one of the best and one of the favorites here at BlizzCon.
So it's a fan favorite when EU go up against NA, and we had it back-to-back with both series having their own quirks and having their own bits of interest, but at the end of the day, Tempo Storm do bow out. We will see 2 European teams advancing on through to the semi-finals, and Dignitas, despite whatever was thrown at them, they are well versed during the regular season and did not look strained or stressed for one moment in this series right here.
It really just feels like they have the answer to everything. They draft well, they macro well, individual mechanics just insane for this team. They really are one of the best, and you know, it's an interesting series. It's hard to really gauge too much from this, but they still find a victory, and that's what really matters as they move forward. The round of 4, that's where you want to be, that's where you expect to be. We've heard from Snitch, they expect to be there, so things are there, Trick.
The question, I suppose, really is, though, what are we seeing from Dignitas? Is this a Dignitas that look strong enough to go up against Gen.G? You know, Gen.G didn't have the hardest run up against the one to start this day off with. But then Dignitas here, quite honestly, didn't look too pressured by Tempo Storm. So we've had arguably 2 very easy openers for them. Are these 2 contenders that we're going to see day 2 for the finals?
I guarantee they were so calm, so collected behind all of that, and we actually can hear from them as Kevin sitting by with Snitch.
That's right, Jay Howe. I'm here with Snitch from Dignitas. Congratulations on the crispy play here in round of 8. Interesting drafts there from Tempo Storm. Was that the tempo you expected here in round of 8, or were you expecting something a little bit different?
Honestly, it's a little disappointing. I think Tempo are very skilled mechanical players, and to have the series go this way, I think we all feel a little bit sad about it. I think we kind of expected them to play a little bit more standard, maybe give us a tougher fight. But they definitely, you know, they tried something unique. Maybe they felt like it was their only hope, and it just is what it is.
Yeah, it obviously didn't work for him, so definitely appreciate the thoughts there. Now, round of 4, you're going to be up against one of the victors of Tempest versus Miracle. We know you had the victory over Tempest in the group stage. Who are you looking to match up there in the round of 4? Is it Tempest, Miracle? Who would you favor?
I don't think we really have a preference. I think both of them are very skilled teams. Obviously, we defeated Tempest in the group stage, so maybe we already have an edge over them. But I think, you know, Miracle, very talented. Tempest are very talented just in their roles and, you know, the players themselves. And obviously, they're from Korea, so we have to respect that. But yeah, I think both teams are very, very strong, and I think whichever one comes will be a very tough match.
Awesome, I love the confidence. I had the chance to ask Rich earlier in the hypothetical for the grand finals who we would prefer to see. He definitely called out Dignitas. Is that what you'd like to see, the Gen.G Dignitas final, or would you prefer all EU with Team Liquid? What are your thoughts there?
I mean, Rich is kind of overrated, so playing against him again would be kind of a waste of time. So it'd be really exciting to have an all-EU final, so I think I'm rooting for Team Liquid to make it, you know. Tough luck, Rich, but maybe next year.
Love it, love it. That's Snitch for you guys. Congratulations on this victory here, round of 8. We're headed back to the desk.
Regardless, no matter what we get in the grand finals, we are shaping up an amazing tournament so far. Dignitas will be in the lower half of the semifinals tomorrow, and we, of course, have one more match coming up next. But Tempo Storm, let's focus on them. For the 3rd year in a row, North America will not be having a team in the semifinals. But I will say, this Tempo Storm that we saw on Towers of Doom, that is the Tempo Storm that I want to see.
It really felt like they were close, but yet so far at the same time. I don't really know how everybody kind of views this team. Game 1, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of critics out there that will break that game, you know, left and right. The second game, you know, they came in, they played for the long game. It just seemed like that long game never got there because Dignitas won't let you have it.
The second game was a lot better, in my opinion, than the first one. And one of the main reasons why I'm so disappointed is because I think this team is strong enough to give Dignitas a much better run for their money. And that just didn't happen there. But Towers of Doom was at least a map. You can play the Vikings here. They had a strong foreman, there's kill potential. You have the problem that you go up against Dignitas, and they are just really tough to take down. But the strategy was there, and I like that a lot. Map 1, on the other hand, that's where I just couldn't see, okay, what are you even trying to do here? We talked about the old choices. Yeah. But game 2, way more of a success story that it could have been if they get maybe a kill against Dig at some point. They already had the leading experience. If you can snowball that somehow, you have a chance there.
Well, we will be seeing more at Dignitas tomorrow in the semifinals, so look out for that. But up next, Tempest will take on Miracle.